Friends, once you start watching today's video, you won't be able to look away. Today, you're about to hear an unbelievable true story. The story of a wealthy Arab girl and a poor immigrant worker. How did this rich girl try to trap an innocent man? How did their strange relationship begin? And what happened in the end will absolutely shock you. Watch the video till the very end. If you enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our real-life emotional stories. Now, let's begin today's story. Malik Harper's story didn't begin in the glittering hills of Los Angeles or the luxurious mansions of the American elite. It began far from there, in the dusty town of Meridian, Mississippi, where dreams were small and opportunities even smaller. Born to a family of meager means, Malik was the only son after 7 daughters. A child his mother, Rosa Harper, called her miracle from heaven. He was light-skinned, with striking hazel eyes and a face that made people stop and look twice. But in a town where labor defined worth, Malik's beauty was more curse than gift. Rosa had suffered her whole life. After losing her husband to lung disease brought on by years of factory work, she refused to let her only son follow the same fate. God didn't give me a boy this fine just to see him rot in overalls and broken boots, she would often say, while wiping sweat from her brow. You're meant for clean air, clean suits, and a better future, Malik. While neighbors laughed at her, she stayed resolute. She joined savings clubs, borrowed from kind friends, and even sold the last pieces of jewelry her husband had gifted her. Eventually, with every ounce of faith and debt, she bought Malik a one-way bus ticket to California, where a distant cousin named Jerome lived, a man she barely knew but trusted for the sake of her son. When Malik arrived in Los Angeles, it was like stepping into another world. The lights, the cars, the cold indifference of the crowds. It all felt alien. Jerome lived in a small apartment in Inglewood, crowded with 5 other men, all chasing different versions of the American dream. Malik was given a mattress on the floor and one promise. I'll find you something soon. Just stay useful. Within 2 weeks, Jerome took him to a wealthy estate in Beverly Hills. A sprawling Spanish-style villa with white columns, terraced gardens, and a fountain in the shape of a rearing lion. The man who owned it was Donovan Blake, a real estate mogul with roots in Texas and wealth that stretched across continents. Donovan didn't waste time. After eyeing Malik up and down, he nodded slowly. Sharp-looking kid. You trust him? He asked Jerome. With my life, Jerome lied. Donovan gave a quiet smile. Good. I have a very special assignment, not just any labor job. Malik tensed. He had expected yard work or perhaps janitorial duties. What came next floored him. Donovan took Malik inside and led him to a grand sunroom. There, standing like mannequins out of a fashion magazine, were 4 young women, Donovan's daughters. They were stunning, draped in silk robes and luxury perfumes. Each girl looked like she belonged on a movie set. The oldest, maybe 25, had piercing green eyes and jet black hair. The second had freckles dusted over her caramel skin and legs that never seemed to end. The youngest 2 were barely past high school, but just as striking, with delicate frames and sarcastic smirks. The oldest one laughed. Dad, who is this? Are we casting for a reality show now? Malik lowered his gaze respectfully, but he could feel their eyes crawling over him. Donovan ignored the comment. "From today," he said calmly, "Malik here will be assisting you with errands, groceries, transport, picking up anything you need." He paused. "He'll also be keeping an eye on you." The girls froze. The mood shifted. "Come on, Dad," the second daughter groaned. "Are we children?" Donovan's voice hardened. "I have my reasons." Later, in private, he explained to Malek, "These girls, they're wild. Their mother died young. I tried my best. But ever since they hit 18, they've been sneaking out at night, lying about where they're going, who they're with. I need someone inside, someone I trust." He handed Malik a brand new iPhone. "It's loaded. Record whatever seems wrong. Video, audio, anything. If you see them sneaking out, I want to know. You're not just a helper now. You're my eyes." Malik's heart raced. He was being asked to spy on his employer's daughters. But when Donovan told him the salary, it nearly made him cry. It was more money than his entire family had seen in a year. That night, Malik knelt by the small bed in his guest room and whispered a prayer for his mother. Then he sent the first wire transfer home. Rosa wept with joy, her voice shaking on the phone. "I knew my boy would make something of himself." But Malik's celebration was short-lived. On his very first night, around 2 a.m., Malik was woken by the faint sound of high heels clicking against marble. He quietly stepped out and spotted the 4 girls dressed in party wear. Tight skirts, heavy makeup, and stilettos, trying to sneak out to the garage. One of them had a YouTube tutorial playing on her phone. How to start a car without a key. "Where do you think you're going?" Malik asked, calm but firm. One of them scoffed. "You gonna stop us?" "I work for your father," he said. "That car's not moving." He reached forward, shut the SUV's door, and draped a car cover over it. Then, folding a lawn chair, he sat right in front of the vehicle. They laughed in disbelief. "You're serious?" He didn't move. "You're not leaving this house tonight." Eventually, frustrated, they stomped away. The next morning, Malik told Donovan everything. The older man simply nodded. "You just saved them from God knows what. Keep doing what you're doing." But that night, something else changed. The daughters, especially the third one, Selena, began to look at him differently. She smiled more. She lingered in the halls. One afternoon, she approached him in the garden. "You don't look like a servant," she said, her voice soft. "Coy." "I'm not here to impress," he replied. She leaned closer. "You're too good looking to be working like this. Maybe you're here for something else." He lied and told her he was already engaged, that he had a girl back home he planned to marry. Selena looked stunned, then walked away. But it was just the beginning. That night, Malik overheard the girls whispering through the thin walls of the villa. "He's married," one hissed. "We'll see about that," another replied. They weren't just defiant daughters. They were plotting. And Malik knew this job might save his family. But if he made one wrong move, it could destroy him. Malik Harper had stepped into a role that seemed easy from the outside. Just a helper in a mansion. But behind the marble floors, luxury furniture, and the aroma of fresh lilies, the air was thick with tension, secrets, and seduction. He wasn't just a domestic staff member anymore. He was the unspoken line of defense between chaos and control inside the Blake household. The next few days passed with uncomfortable silence from the daughters. Malek noticed a shift, not just in their behavior, but in the air itself. They were no longer openly mocking him. Instead, they whispered when he passed, glanced over their shoulders while texting, and giggled among themselves, sometimes catching him with oddly knowing smiles. Selena, the third daughter, the one closest to his age, was especially persistent. One afternoon, she approached Malik while he was organizing groceries in the massive kitchen. "You always this quiet?" she asked casually, twirling a spoon. "I speak when necessary," Malik replied without looking up. She came closer, leaned over the counter, her perfume wafting in the air. "What if someone wanted to talk to you? Not because they had to, but because they wanted to." Malik straightened up and met her eyes. "I was hired to protect your safety, not to entertain your boredom." She chuckled, but there was a sting behind her laugh. "You really think you're too good for us, huh?" "I think I'm good enough for myself," he said, and walked away. Later that night, Malik heard footsteps outside his room. Curious and cautious, he remained still. The footsteps paused at his door, then retreated. He waited 5 more minutes, then quietly opened it. Nothing. Silence. But the next morning, things escalated. As he watered the backyard plants, Mr. Blake called him from the patio, sipping black coffee. "Come sit, Malik." Malik obeyed. "I heard something strange," Blake said. "Selena told me you made her feel unsafe yesterday." Malik's eyes widened. "Sir, with respect, that's not true. She came on to me. I politely declined." Blake raised an eyebrow. "I thought so, but I had to ask. You're a young man. They're young women. I've seen how things can get messy. I would never jeopardize this job, sir." Blake nodded. "I trust you, but be careful. These girls, they know how to twist truth. Keep your distance. Keep your evidence." That evening, Malik bought a hidden audio recorder and slipped it into his hoodie pocket. His instincts screamed that a trap was coming. He wasn't wrong. A few nights later, at nearly 1:30 a.m., Malik heard crying from the hallway. He stepped out and saw Selena sitting on the floor, holding her ankle. "What happened?" he asked, rushing forward. "I was coming to find you. I twisted my foot," she whimpered. "I can't walk. Can you carry me to my room?" Malik paused. Her acting was almost convincing. Her eyes glistened with tears, but her voice was too controlled. "Should I call your father?" he asked. "No, don't wake him. Just help me, please." He stared at her. "You were crying too softly to get anyone's attention, and your sister's rooms are closer than mine." Selena's eyes narrowed. "I'll go get Mr. Blake," Malik said, turning. She immediately stood up. "I'm fine," she snapped, and stormed off, embarrassed. Later that week, Malik was sitting outside the girls' shared bedroom, pretending to scroll on his phone while his recorder quietly captured audio. The door was slightly ajar. He heard laughter, then his name. "He won't take the bait," Selena said bitterly. "Says he's engaged." "Then we need a new plan," said another voice. "He might not fall for love, but no man turns down temptation," another added. "Even if he resists, we just need one slip-up, one moment, then we scream. Who will they believe, us or him?" Malik felt a cold sweat on his back. His entire body stiffened. He had never heard something so calculated. so cruel. They were planning to trap him, not because he had done anything wrong, but because he was in the way, and they knew exactly how to destroy him. He couldn't sleep that night. Visions of false accusations, police at the door, his mother crying back home, his sisters humiliated. Each thought crushed his chest. He had to act, not defensively, but strategically. The next day, an opportunity presented itself. The girls ordered pizza during one of their stay-in girls' nights. Malik took the call, collected the boxes at the gate, and brought them in. But before handing over the food, he laced 3 of the slices with a mild, sleep-inducing medication he had discreetly purchased at a local pharmacy. By midnight, all 4 girls were out cold. He moved fast. In the oldest daughter's room, he placed empty wine bottles near the couch and positioned her like she had passed out drunk. In the second daughter's room, he scattered cigarette butts and a lighter across her bed, along with a popular men's magazine. In Selena's room, the most dangerous of them all, he laid out open magazines of explicit content, some suggestive Polaroids, and photos of male models he had printed from the internet. He even found a suggestive voice memo on her phone and discreetly copied it. The youngest, who had been the quietest, was placed on a recliner with lipstick, markings on her mirror, and provocative sketches on her notebook. Things Malik hadn't created, but simply highlighted. Then he took photos, dozens, from angles that told stories. Stories that Mr. Blake didn't know, but might have suspected. He saved the photos on a USB drive, emailed copies to himself, and stored them on an encrypted flash drive he tucked into his boot. The next morning, the sisters awoke, groggy, confused, and terrified. By noon, Malik sent a single email with a sample of the images to each of their personal inboxes. No message, just proof. Within minutes, his phone rang. Selena's voice trembled. "What do you want?" "I want peace," Malik replied. "I want to keep my job. I want to send money home, and I want you all to leave me alone." "Delete the photos," she said. "I did, but you have copies." "I also have morals," he said coldly. "I'll never show your father unless I have no choice." From that day forward, the girls backed off. They didn't apologize. They didn't explain. But they no longer tried to seduce, trap, or taunt him. Malik had won, but he knew the war wasn't over. In a house built on lies and money, the game always continued. Years rolled by like whispered secrets in the hallways of the Blake mansion. Malik Harper, once a frightened newcomer to Los Angeles with nothing but a prayer in his pocket, had now become the unshakable pillar of the Blake household. He had not only survived, but mastered a battlefield of wealth, deception, and privilege. After the incident with the daughters, life in the mansion slowly settled into a rhythm. The girls, now aware of Malik's intelligence and quiet strength, kept their distance. They became less reckless, at least in his presence. Not because they had changed, but because they now knew someone was watching who couldn't be manipulated. Mr. Donovan Blake, meanwhile, began to rely on Malik more than ever. No longer just a personal assistant or a glorified chauffeur, Malik was entrusted with confidential matters, bank deposits, property documents, coordinating staff, planning events. He was promoted to senior household manager, a position that paid triple his original salary and gave him authority over the entire domestic staff. Donovan once said over dinner, "You're the son I never had, Malik. The only person I trust around here." Malik's heart stirred at those words, but he never let the compliment blind him. He remembered the night in his tiny Mississippi bedroom when his mother had knelt at the foot of his bed and whispered, "Don't ever lose yourself trying to survive the world." Back home, life had transformed completely. Rosa Harper had paid off every debt. Malik's sisters had weddings that once seemed impossible. One by one, they built families, opened small businesses, and even sent their own children to school. Rosa's house, once crumbling from time and rain, now had a painted porch, a vegetable garden, and laughter in every corner. One day, Rosa called him, her voice trembling with age and joy. "I want to see my boy get married. You've done everything for us. Now do something for yourself." Malik had never thought much about marriage. He had seen too much dishonesty inside that mansion to believe in love easily. But he agreed. Rosa, ever the matriarch, selected a kind-hearted girl named Aliyah from a nearby town, someone who didn't care about wealth, but believed in character. The wedding was small, warm, and honest. 2 months later, Malik brought Aliyah back to Los Angeles. For the first time, someone truly his walked beside him inside the gates of the mansion, not as a servant, but as a partner. He introduced her to Mr. Blake, who offered congratulations and handed Aliyah a bouquet of orchids. But not everyone in the house was happy. Selena, now 27 and still single, caught sight of Malik helping Aliyah unpack one afternoon. She stood silently in the corridor, her expression unreadable. She had long buried the memory of trying to manipulate him, but seeing him happy, grounded, and married rekindled old fires she never acknowledged. Regret, perhaps, or pride wounded beyond repair. Malik, however, paid no attention. His eyes remained on the life he was building, a clean life. Honest. With time, 2 of the Blake daughters moved out and got married. Donovan, perhaps grateful for Malik's influence or simply tired of their games, took a more active role in choosing decent husbands for them. The youngest, Nia, enrolled in art school in New York. Selena remained at home, helping with her father's charity events, but never dared cross Malik again. 5 years passed. Malik and Aliyah had 2 children, a boy named Zaid and a girl named Liana. They lived in the guest quarters of the estate, but Malik had started saving for a small home of their own. He worked from sunrise to midnight, keeping the Blake estate in top shape, mentoring junior staff, managing affairs with precision. Then one evening, Mr. Blake summoned him to the rooftop lounge. The older man's face was thinner, his hair a paler shade of white than before. His voice cracked with something Malik had never heard from him before: vulnerability. "I'm retiring soon," Blake said. "Doctors found something in my lungs. Nothing final yet, but I don't have much time." Malik remained silent, letting him speak. "I've rewritten my will," Blake continued. "I don't have a son. And frankly, my daughters, they'll get their share. But the house, the estate, I'm leaving it to you." Malik froze. "Sir, I can't." "Yes, you can," Blake interrupted. "You already run it, and I know you'll protect it. This house has history, secrets, burdens. You've carried them better than anyone." Tears welled in Malik's eyes, but he blinked them away. Weeks later, Blake passed quietly in his sleep. The funeral was private, held at the mansion's chapel. Malik gave a eulogy, not as an employee, but as a man who had walked beside the powerful, not with envy, but with dignity. The daughters, though shocked at first about the inheritance, didn't protest. In truth, they had always known this day would come. Their respect for Malik, rooted in fear, admiration, and a grudging sense of gratitude, kept them from challenging the will. And so, the mansion that once felt like a battlefield became a home. Malik raised his children in the same halls where he once feared betrayal. He walked the same corridors, not as a spy, but as a protector. Sometimes, he would sit in the garden during sunset, holding his daughter's hand as she played with butterflies, and whisper softly to himself, "I came here with nothing, just a name, a face, and a prayer, and somehow, God gave me everything I needed, one test at a time." Thanks for watching. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with others. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon so you never miss our next emotional true story. We post new videos regularly that uncover the hidden truths of real lives. Until next time, stay safe and take care. Assalamu alaikum and goodbye.